They were the powerless church. They didn't have a lot of money. They were probably, not even on most people's map. But they forged the way for every other church that's going to come in their footsteps. And let me deal with one last story I want to tell you, because it's a really important one. And this is true. You might think, well, he's making this up. No, this is absolutely true. A number of years ago now, I was minding my own business, reading my newspaper, and I opened the newspaper and I saw something I'd never seen before. Senior citizens holding picket signs. And I went, well, what is this about? And I looked and I found out these seniors had been told they could not pray in their senior center and they could not sing gospel songs on their piano. And we had a new attorney who'd come on. He was fresh out of the military. And I said, go find these people and let's see if we can help them. And he went out there and he met with them and he said, they came up to him and they said, look, we're the has-beens, we're the nobodies. We don't have any power in this town. These 4 guys on the city council, they control everything. We didn't think anything would happen. We just had to speak up. We never thought anybody would help us, much less lawyers for free. And so this attorney comes back to me and he says, okay, the city doesn't deserve to be warned. They deserve to be destroyed. And I'm like, no. We're gonna let them, tell them, send them a letter, tell them there's this thing called the Constitution. They really ought to read it. And if they want to really fight us, then we're willing to fight them. And they told us to get lost. It said no religions allowed in government buildings, including the senior center. So we had a press conference, and I was standing at a podium like this with all the seniors behind me, and I did something I'm sure every media expert would tell you never to do. I turned around and I said, does anybody want to say anything? And Barney Clark out of the corner walked up. Barney was a 77-year-old World War II veteran. He had a cowboy hat. He had a bolo tie and a western suit, the only suit he owned, with cowboy boots. And he walked up to the microphone and he said, I fought in a war for these freedoms. And I ain't going into the corner to pray. If they want to arrest me, fine. Long as it says what I was arrested for praying. He turned around and he walked in the back of the room. About an hour later, we got a call from Bill O'Reilly's producer saying, we want the guy in the hat. And that started Barney and I on a whirlwind tour. He ended up testifying in the U.S. Senate. We ended up, Fox News came out to the senior center. And they came out, they were following this little lady, about 4'2", white hair, bent over, Marceline. Marceline said, come here, to the cameraman. And I went, oh no, what is Marceline going to do now? Because you didn't know what Marceline was going to do. And the cameraman was following her, and she popped open the trunk, pulled out a picket sign, and it said, don't mess with Grandma, she's mad. And I'll have you know that these seniors won their lawsuit, that there's a permanent injunction that the city can never interfere with their prayers over their meal or their gospel songs at the corner of the senior center. And if they ever do, those government officials will be held in contempt of court and thrown into jail. And not only that, we even won some money for them. They didn't know it, but just so they could hold a big celebration in the senior center, which they did. But the interesting thing to me about this story was what happened afterwards. Because after these so-called powerless people won, the whole city said, you know what, maybe these 4 guys on the city council aren't so powerful. So they held a recall election, and all 4 of those guys got thrown out of office. And just a couple of years ago, after that, I got a call from one of the seniors, and guess what? One of the seniors is now one of the city council members for that city. So my point is, you do have the power, you can make a difference. Just make sure that today is the beginning. Us getting together and having fun, which is great, and talking about what we've got to do about our country is great, but we got to follow through. And you got to have information. So I would encourage you, we'll send out, I mentioned to you that CPS bill. How would you have known about that? It wasn't in the major newspapers. They didn't tell you about it. You've got to be on stuff like our email list and others that's going on so that you can activate and you can make a difference, so that you can send 17,000 emails and calls and literally have the governor turn and say, I am stopping this bill. You can do it. You have the power. God bless you, and God bless the state of Texas. Thank y'all for being here.